The hidden arsenal of the samurai, beyond the katana. Picture a samurai warrior, and chances are you're imagining a fearsome figure wielding a curved katana sword. But what if I told you that this iconic blade wasn't always the deadliest weapon in a samurai's arsenal? In fact, some of Japan's most lethal warriors preferred weapons that would make Batman's utility belt look ordinary. In the blood-soaked battlefields of feudal Japan, survival often depended not on the famous katana, but on an array of ingenious weapons that could strike fear into the hearts of enemies from a distance or dispatch them before they could even draw their swords. Today we're diving deep into the hidden arsenal of Japan's most feared warriors, revealing 10 weapons that could be even more lethal than the legendary katana. Our first deadly implement might surprise you: the naginata. Imagine a weapon that combines the slashing power of a sword with the reach of a spear, and you'll begin to understand why the naginata was a nightmare on the battlefield. But here's where it gets interesting. While modern pop culture often portrays samurai warfare as a series of one-on-one sword duels, the reality was far different. The naginata, with its curved blade mounted on a wooden shaft up to 7 feet long, could keep multiple opponents at bay while delivering devastating cuts that could slice through armor and dismount cavalry in a single sweep. But what's truly fascinating about the naginata is its connection to female warriors. When samurai wives needed to defend their homes, they turned to this versatile weapon. The naginata became so associated with women warriors that it was often included in a samurai daughter's dowry. Even today, Japanese martial arts schools teach naginata jutsu primarily to women, carrying on a tradition that spans centuries. Moving to our second weapon, we encounter something that looks like it came straight out of a medieval James Bond movie: the kusarigama. Picture this: a deadly sharp sickle attached to a weighted chain that could be up to 12 feet long. American viewers might compare it to a medieval morning star, but the kusarigama was far more sophisticated. A skilled warrior could use the chain to entangle an opponent's sword or limbs while closing in for a lethal strike with the sickle. The weight at the chain's end could crack skulls or break bones, making it effective even against armored opponents. The third weapon on our list revolutionized Japanese warfare so completely that it changed the face of combat forever: the Tanegashima, or Japanese matchlock gun. When Portuguese traders first introduced firearms to Japan in 1543, the samurai class initially dismissed them as dishonorable. However, the warlord Oda Nobunaga saw their potential and created the first gun regiment in Japanese history. At the Battle of Nagashino in 1575, his 3,000 gunners devastated the supposedly invincible Takeda cavalry, firing in rotating volleys that would have made American Civil War generals proud. Think about this. While European armies were still figuring out how to effectively use firearms, Japanese gunsmiths were already making improvements to the Portuguese design. They developed water-resistant firing mechanisms, improved accuracy, and even created a production system that could manufacture hundreds of identical guns, a feat that wouldn't be matched in Europe for another century. Our fourth weapon brings us back to the basics, but with a deadly twist. The yari, spear, might seem simple compared to the other weapons we've discussed, but its simplicity was its strength. Unlike the European pike, which was primarily a stabbing weapon, the Japanese yari came in dozens of varieties. Some had crossguards to trap enemy weapons, others had multiple points for catching armor, and the most sophisticated designs could even be used to slash like a sword. In the hands of trained ashigaru, foot soldiers, rows of yari created an impenetrable wall of steel points. During the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, Japan's largest and most decisive samurai battle, spear formations played a crucial role in determining the outcome. The yari's effectiveness was so renowned that many samurai actually preferred it to the katana in large-scale battles. Now, let's talk about a weapon that might remind you of modern-day law enforcement tools: the jita. At first glance, this foot-long metal rod with a pronged hook might look underwhelming, but in the hands of a skilled user, it was the medieval Japanese equivalent of a tactical police baton. The jita became the symbol of law enforcement in Edo period Japan, where police officials called doshin carried them as badges of office. What made the jita particularly effective was its ability to catch and trap an opponent's blade. Imagine trying to swing a sword, only to have it suddenly locked in place by this seemingly simple metal rod. The hook could catch the blade while the metal construction could block cuts, allowing the user to close in and subdue their opponent. Many jita also featured hidden compartments or secondary spikes, making them the original Swiss Army knife of law enforcement. Speaking of concealed weapons, our sixth item might be the most ingenious of all, the tessen, or iron fan. Picture yourself as a medieval Japanese diplomatic envoy, walking into a castle where weapons are strictly forbidden. The guards check you for swords, daggers, and spears, but they don't look twice at the elegant fan you're carrying. That's exactly what made the tessen so deadly. It was the ultimate concealed weapon, hiding in plain sight. Made from iron plates designed to look like a regular folding fan, the tessen could be used as a blunt weapon, a throwing weapon, or even as a shield to deflect arrows. Historical records tell us about a famous incident where a samurai named Araki Murashige defeated an assassin using only his tessen, deflecting a sword strike and then striking back with the fan's reinforced edge. Think of it as feudal Japan's version of a modern-day concealed carry weapon, but with an artistic twist. Moving to our seventh weapon, we enter the realm of what many Americans might recognize from ninja movies, the shuriken. But forget everything you've seen in Hollywood films. Real shuriken weren't just throwing stars. They came in countless shapes and sizes, from simple spikes to elaborate cross-shaped designs. While rarely lethal on their own, shuriken were psychological weapons par excellence. Imagine being in a night battle and suddenly feeling sharp metal projectiles hitting you from multiple directions. Even if they didn't cause serious injury, the confusion and panic they created could be devastating. What many people don't know is that samurai, not just ninja, regularly used shuriken. They were particularly effective as a way to create openings in combat or to distract opponents during crucial moments. Some samurai even developed techniques for using their sword scabbards to launch shuriken, creating what you might call a medieval Japanese quick-draw technique. Our eighth weapon is the kaganawa, or grappling hook, which might remind you of modern military climbing equipment. But the samurai version was far more versatile. Beyond scaling castle walls, the kaganawa could be used to entangle opponents, pull down cavalry, or create improvised barriers by pulling down tree branches or loose structures. During naval battles, skilled warriors would use kaganawa to pull enemy ships closer, allowing for boarding actions. One particularly clever use of the kaganawa was in combination with other weapons. A warrior might throw the hook to entangle an opponent's legs, then follow up with a spear thrust or sword strike. In siege warfare, teams of samurai would use multiple kaganawa to create makeshift bridges or climbing routes, demonstrating the kind of tactical innovation that would make modern special forces proud. In essence, the kaganawa was the samurai equivalent of modern tactical gear, a tool that could turn the environment itself into a weapon. Historical records tell of samurai using kaganawa to scale seemingly impregnable castle walls, create diversions by pulling down structures, and even to rescue allies who had fallen into moats or off-battlements. Our ninth entry might shock those who think of samurai warfare as purely about swordplay, explosive weapons, and gunpowder devices. While Hollywood might have you believe that only ninja used explosives, the reality is that samurai armies employed a sophisticated array of pyrotechnic weapons that would rival a modern-day 4th of July celebration, except these fireworks were designed to do more than just illuminate the sky. Consider the fire arrows, or bohia, which could turn a wooden castle into an inferno within minutes. These weren't simple flaming arrows, but complex devices with specialized warheads containing mixtures of gunpowder, oil, and other incendiary materials. Some versions even included multiple stages, like a medieval cruise missile, with the initial explosion spreading burning material over a wide area. Then there were the tetsuhao, hand-thrown grenades made from ceramic or iron shells filled with gunpowder and shrapnel. Think of them as the ancestors of modern fragmentation grenades, but with an artistic twist. Some were designed to look like ordinary pottery until the moment of detonation. During castle sieges, defenders would rain these devices down on attacking forces, creating chaos and confusion that could break up even the most determined assault. But perhaps most fascinating were the signal bombs and smoke screens used for battlefield communication and tactical advantage. Using different combinations of chemicals, samurai commanders could create colored smoke signals visible for miles, a medieval version of radio communication. Some armies even developed early versions of smoke grenades, using special powder mixtures to create dense clouds that could cover troop movements or create diversions. Finally, we come to our 10th and perhaps most surprising entry, the samurai armor itself. While not technically a weapon, innovative armor designs could be just as deadly as any blade. Forget the idea of heavy, cumbersome plate armor. Samurai armor was an ingenious combination of mobility and lethality. Many armor sets featured small spikes or serrated edges strategically placed on shoulders, elbows, and knees, turning the wearer's entire body into a weapon. The kabuto, helmet, often incorporated deadly design elements like sharpened fukigaishi, side flaps, that could slash an opponent during close-quarter combat. Some helmets even featured horns or protruding elements that could be used to headbutt opponents. Imagine a medieval version of brass knuckles, but for your entire body. What made samurai armor truly revolutionary was its modular design. Unlike European plate armor, samurai armor could be quickly modified for different battle conditions. Need more mobility for a naval raid? Remove certain plates. Expecting heavy cavalry? Add reinforced sections. This adaptability meant that the armor itself became part of a samurai's offensive strategy, not just defensive equipment. Perhaps most impressive were the psychological warfare elements built into the armor's design. Those fantastic helmet crests and fierce face masks weren't just for show. They were designed to intimidate opponents and create an aura of supernatural power. Some armor sets included built-in noisemakers that would create eerie sounds during movement, adding to the psychological impact. Looking back at these 10 weapons, we can see that the samurai were far more than just swordsmen. They were innovative warriors who combined engineering, psychology, and martial arts to create one of history's most sophisticated military cultures. While the katana remains a beautiful symbol of their era, it was just one tool in an arsenal that would impress even modern military engineers. These weapons tell us something profound about Japanese military culture. The emphasis wasn't on the weapon itself, but on how it could be used in combination with other tools and tactics. Each weapon we've discussed wasn't just a tool of destruction, but a reflection of the samurai's commitment to excellence in every aspect of warfare. From the elegant simplicity of the naginata to the psychological warfare of armor design, each weapon represents centuries of refinement and practical experience. They remind us that innovation in warfare isn't always about creating bigger or more powerful weapons. Sometimes it's about finding clever solutions to complex problems. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the lesser-known arsenal of Japan's most famous warriors. If you enjoyed learning about these fascinating weapons and want to discover more hidden aspects of Japanese history, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. Your support helps us continue bringing you more fascinating stories from Japan's rich historical tapestry. Also, let us know in the comments which of these weapons surprised you the most. We'd love to hear your thoughts.